So the main theme today is sometimes you have to go with plan B. Okay? Sometimes you have to go with plan B. And Jesus had to do that in the gospel. Actually, God had a plan A, and he had to go with plan B. Well, what was that? Plan A was he was going to go to all the synagogues in the area of northern Galilee. He's going to preach in the synagogues, heal, perform miracles, and so on. But this guy who was healed of leprosy, who was told, don't tell anyone, went and told everybody, and now Jesus can't go to the synagogues anymore because there's too many people running after him. So he went to plan B, which is, I'm going to stay out here in the deserted places, and all the people will come to me, and I'll preach to them here. Okay? Well, sometimes in the spiritual life, in our own lives, we have to go to plan B too. I don't know if any of you studied any of the Apollo series, the astronauts going into space, but Apollo 13, I actually went to St. Cloud Apollo High School, so I'm kind of proud of the Apollo. And in front of the high school, they have one of the, I don't know, whatever you call it, the capsule. They have a capsule. Well, Apollo 13 went into space, headed for the moon, but something wrong happened. And they had to turn around and come back. They had to have engineers fix the whole unit, but from within down below. So they're sending messages up and they're saying, we got to fix this thing so we can get back safe. We're all going to die coming back in through orbit, and we're going to burn up, right? So all the engineers at NASA said, well, what do you have on the rocket? He said, well, we got this piece of styrofoam, and we got this mesh, and we got this and that. He says, okay, we'll take what you got, and they put it all on a big table in NASA, and they said, okay, engineers, try and create a device to help these people fix the rocket so they can get back to Earth. And they did. And they did. And thank God, okay? So plan B. Well, sometimes in the spiritual life we have to do plan B too. For example, maybe you go to your weekly hour of adoration or daily prayer time, and you're thinking, gosh, I'm going to go here, I'm going to pray for such and my family and my friends, I'm going to do this. But you're so worried about the exam on Friday, you can't stop thinking about that exam. Plan B is, I'm going to talk to God about my anxiety about the exam. I'm going to make that the content of my prayer, okay? We have some seminarians doing Bible studies on campus, and one of them had this dream, I'm going to do a Bible study. I'm going to have 15 guys in the Bible study. We're going to have an awesome rockin' male Bible study in Ireland Hall. Well, a couple guys came, and not too many others showed up. But the guys' girlfriends wanted to join, and they're like, Father, can we do that too? I'm like, yeah, you guys do it. Go ahead, bring the girlfriends. So they have now a plan B, which is working out. Okay, it was going to be a Bible study for guys, and now it's for couples. So, but they're growing spiritually, okay? And in fact, sometimes the guys here, I told them this morning, a lot of you guys aren't going to be priests. You come here thinking God's calling me to priesthood, and maybe plan B for you is to get married. But I did go on to say for a few of you who are really wishing you had plan B instead of plan A, for you there might be plan C. And plan C for a few of them like me is you leave the seminary, you think it's not for you, but you end up coming back in the long run, okay? And so I said, when you study logic, there's a modus ponens and a modus tonens, but that's a modus chosen. The modus chosen. The modus chosen. In the gospel, Jesus in plan B, he heals the leper. He heals the leper. He does something extraordinary. He touches the leper. Think about that. Think about if you were praying for a leper's healing. Would you touch the leper? You go in the hospital today and you gotta get all the antibacterial cleaning, wear your gloves, blah, blah, blah. To touch someone with an illness, we get kind of freaked out sometimes. Jesus touched the leper. And what it means for us, of course, is he's not afraid to touch our areas of greatest shame. and he wants to bring healing. The leper, Jesus said to him, you go and talk to the priest now. Why did he say it? Because the priest was the one at that time who could only declare this leper is truly healed, and therefore he can come back to the community. You see, if you're a leper, you're supposed to stand on the outside of the village, and if you get near anyone, you're supposed to shout out, leper, leper, I'm here, don't come near me. You're excommunicated. And Jesus said, go show yourself to the priest so he can reunite you with the community. It's beautiful. Jesus touching a leper. I was made aware of another beautiful modern miracle, which is in a similar vein. There is a North American Indian, Kateri Tekakwitha, who was a Mohawk of the Mohawk tribe. That is in northern New York. And her mother was an Algonquin Christian. Her father was a chieftain for the Mohawks. And the early Jesuits came to evangelize in this area, the North American martyrs, and 10 years after their death, she also received the gospel. Well, the Indians blamed the Caucasian Europeans for some diseases, including smallpox. They had brought the smallpox. They said they blamed the black robes, that is literally the priests, the Jesuit priests. And some of them lost their lives for their faith. Well, she had contracted smallpox when she was 4 years old. And it left her face with pocket marks, with very kind of deformed, if you will, very scarred. She only lived to the age of 24. She had the smallpox and was healed enough to live that long. At the age of 20, though she had relatives, the smallpox actually took the life of her mother and her father and her brother, so relatives raised her. And they had a marriage assigned to her, but she wanted to be consecrated to Christ, and she chose not. She chose to live for Him. She lived a life of great mortification. At a young age, she was baptized at age 20 and received her first Eucharist. Well, she died and has testified she lived a very heroic life. To be canonized a saint, you have to have 2 miracles attributed to your intercession after you die. She's had one, so she's blessed. But here's the second. There's a little boy from Seattle, 4 years old, who contracted a flesh-eating bacterial disease that was literally eating his face away. There was absolutely no cure for him, and he was pronounced all but dead. They prayed to Blessed Kateri Tekakwitha, and he was totally, miraculously cured. And that miracle was confirmed by the Vatican on December 22nd, just this late winter. Another beautiful thing about Blessed Kateri, after she died, her corpse laid there, and several Jesuits and others testified that the scars on her face disappeared. Like the leper who was healed in the gospel, Jesus used her to heal a small child in Seattle this past year. And God wants to heal us too of the leprosy of our sin. Any shame that we share within, let the Lord touch us now.